How you doing? It's Mr. DJ again for my 60s YouTube channel. Getting off to a slow start tonight. Computer running real slow. It's sluggish once again tonight. May have to take a night off from making videos to maybe do a disk cleanup, and hopefully that might help a little bit. But we'll just make the best of a unfavorable situation. Gosh, dog it! Talk about starting off with a bang. 60s, 1969, outsourcing Billboard's Hot 100, October the 11th, 1969. And let me read you the top five hits from that week. Let's start off doing that. The top five week, top 10, top five hits from the week of October the 11th, 1969, as the 60s gradually closed to an end. And let's go all the way up to number five. At number five, Hot Fun in the Summertime by Sly and the Family Stone. That's up from number nine. And I Can't Get Next to You, Motown by the Temptations, produced by, oh gosh, what was that guy's name? Norman Whitfield produced that one. Little Woman by Bobby Sherman. That's a lost 45 right there. You seldom hear it on the oldie stations, although 60s on 6, they run that every now and then on XM radio. And you got Gene at number 2 by Oliver. Runner up to Good Morning Starshine. Of course, Sugar Sugar by the Archies at number 1. And let's go all the way down to number 100. Gosh, talk about a song that gives me goosebumps. I remember listening to this song on WTBC, 1230 WTBC years ago, and it's a classic 60s record. It's acoustic country 60s record. I can't really explain it. At number 100 on Billboard's Hot 100, October the 11th, 1969, Rick Nelson and the Stone Canyon Band. She Belongs to Me. Rick Nelson looking for a comeback, influenced by Bob Dylan. As a matter of fact, the song She Belongs to Me was originally done by Bob Dylan. He put it out on I think it was a single, but it wasn't a hit. It's from his album that he put out in 1965 called Bringing It All Back Home. And this was an anti-love song. Song about a witchy woman, actually, by Bob Dylan. And there's been some speculation that it could be about his former girlfriends. One of them, possible ex-girlfriend, Suze Rotolo. And he went out with her, an artist. She was an artist from 1961 through 64. Joan Baez could be another possible subject matter of this song. Also, a woman named Nico, an artist, an actress. She sang lead singer of the Velvet Underground on their first album, Lou Reed's band. She also ran around with the Andy Warhol crowd back in the 60s. She made some experimental films with Andy Warhol. She's a possible subject matter of She Belongs to Me by Bob Dylan, the original version by Bob Dylan. Couldn't get too much information about the Ricky Nelson version of that song, but I will tell you this. The thing about Ricky Nelson, and this was sad, he had such a persona, a teenage idol. He had a song out called Teenage Idol. The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. 50s all the way to, I think it ran to about 1966, that show did. Teenage Ricky Nelson. Coming out with records like Lonesome Town, Teenage Idol Stood Up, Teenage Romance. And I don't know how to say it. You develop such an image. You develop such a persona. He had that teen persona about him. He couldn't shake it off. But, there's a time when you grow up. There's a time when you develop as an artist. There's a time when you say, okay, I'm done with this. I'm done with Teenage Idol. I'm done with Teenage Romance. Look at all this stuff that's coming out in the 60s by Simon and Garfunkel, by The Doors, by Bob Dylan. Definitely Bob Dylan. Man, I want to be like Bob Dylan. I think he's doing some cool stuff. So he goes out and he does the Bob Dylan, he does the country, he changes his style, but the audience, they're thinking Teenage Romance, Stood Up, his version of I'm Walking. They're thinking about the teen, Ricky Nelson, on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. And they can't shake it off. Ricky Nelson is a classic case of an artist who has moved way ahead of his audience and was somewhat of a commercial failure because of it when he tried to change. But his audience wouldn't change. He did a song about that, Garden Party, 1972. That was the irony of that. That was his biggest comeback hit. Top 10, late summer, fall of 72, Garden Party. Taking a stab at the people who didn't want him to grow up. He would always be the young Ricky Nelson, the guy who would sing his records on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Nonetheless, this record went to number 33 on Billboard's Hot 100, but you won't hear it on the oldie stations. I haven't even heard it on XM60's on 6. But all these years later, I can remember WTBC playing this record. And just the guitar strumming, the way Ricky Nelson sings the record about a, well, anti-love song. It just, man, it just tugs at the heartstrings. I can't let this song go. God, it's a beautiful record. The thing is, before Garden Party, Ricky Nelson's last top 10 hit was For You. That was in the fall of 1963. As a matter of fact, it was top 10. It was a pretty big hit during the time of Kennedy's assassination. So 6 years have elapsed before Ricky Nelson had another top 40 hit. She Belongs to Me, Bob Dylan record, coming in at number 100, week of October the 11th, 1969, Billboard's Hot 100.